Welcome back. I've got another one in me, and it is time for a story. The exciting, the crazy, controversial post that came out 6 years ago on Reddit about the Bitcoin time traveler. Buckle up. This one is funny. It is interesting because of how much of this prediction has somewhat come true, and obviously not, as you'll see. And there has been an update, unfortunately. Well, you'll see. It's very controversial in itself, and I'll tell you why I think so. But we're going to read the original post, and then we'll show you the update and why I think it's controversial. So I am sending this message from the year 2025. Things are looking bleak here, and some of you will carry blood on your hands. If you don't believe me, please move on, as I have no way of proving to you I'm really who I claim to be. I don't want to waste any of your time, so I'm merely going to explain what happened. On average, every year so far, the value of Bitcoin has increased by about a factor of 10, from 10 cents in 2010 to $1 in 2011 to $10 in 2012 to $100 in 2013. From now on, there's a slight slowdown as the value increased by a factor of 10 every 2 years to $1,000 in 2015 to $10,000 in 2017 to $100,000 in 2019 and $1 million in 2021. From here onwards, there's no good way of expressing its value in dollars, as the dollar is no longer used, nor is any central bank issued currency for that matter. There are two main forms of wealth in today's world: land and cryptocurrency. There are just over 19 million Bitcoin known to be used in the world today, as well as a few 100,000 that were permanently lost, and we're still dealing with a population of just over 7 billion people today. On average, this means the average person owns just under 0.003 Bitcoin. However, due to the unequal distribution of wealth in my world, the mean person owns just 0.001 Bitcoin. That's right. Most of you reading this today are rich. I personally live next to an annoying young man who logged into his old Reddit account 2 years ago and discovered that he received a tip of 0.01 Bitcoin back in 2013 for calling someone a faggot when he was a 16-year-old boy. Upon making this discovery, he bought an airline ticket, left his house without telling anyone anything, and went to a Citadel. What is a Citadel, you might wonder? Well, by the time Bitcoin became worth $1,000, services began to emerge for the Bitcoin rich to protect themselves as well as their wealth. It started with expensive safes, then began to include bodyguards, and today earlies, our term for early adopters, as well as those rich whose wealth survived the transition, live in isolated gated cities called citadels, where most work is automated. Most such citadels are born out of the fortification used to protect places where Bitcoin mining machines are located. The company known as ASIC Miner to you is known to me as a city where Mr. Friedman rules as a king. In my world, soon to be your world, most governments no longer exist, as Bitcoin transactions are done anonymously, and thus most governments can enforce no taxation on their citizens. Most of the success of Bitcoin is due to the fact that Bitcoin turned out to be an effective method to hide your wealth from the government, whereas people entering rogue states like Luxembourg, Monaco, and Liechtenstein were followed by unmanned drones to ensure that governments know who was hiding wealth. No such option was available to stop people from hiding their Bitcoin and money. Hiding their money in Bitcoin. Governments tried to stay relevant in my society by buying Bitcoin, which just made the problem worse by increasing the value of Bitcoin. Governments did so in secret, of course, but my generation's Snowdens are in fact greedy government employees who transferred Bitcoin to their own private account and escaped to anarchic places where no questions are asked as long as you can cough up some money. The four institutions with the largest still accessible Bitcoin balance are believed to be as following: ASIC Miner with 50,000 Bitcoin, the IMF's Currency Stabilization Fund with 70,000 Bitcoin, the government of Saudi Arabia 110,000 Bitcoin, the North Korean government 180,000 Bitcoin. Economic growth today is about negative 2% per year. Why is this? If you own more than 0.01 Bitcoin, chances are you don't do anything with your money. There is no inflation, and thus no incentive to invest your money, just like the medieval ages had no significant economic growth. Usury. As wealth was measured in gold, our society has no economic growth either, as people know their zero point 0.01 Bitcoin will be enough to last a lifetime. The fact that there are still new Bitcoin released is what prevents our world from collapse so far it seems, but people fear that the decline in inflation will occur during the next block halving may further wreck our economy. What happened to the Winklevoss twins? The The Winklevoss twins were among the first to die. After seeing the enormous damage done to the fabric of society, terrorist movements emerged that sought to hunt down and murder anyone known to have a large balance of Bitcoin or believed to be responsible in any way for the development of cryptocurrency. Ironically, these terrorist movements use Bitcoin to anonymously fund their operations. Most people who own any significant amount of Bitcoin no longer speak to their families and lost their friends because they had to change their identities. There have also been a few suicides of people who could not handle the guilt after seeing what happened to the bag holders, the type of skeptical people who continue to believe it would eventually collapse, even after hearing the rumors of governments buying Bitcoin. Many people were taken hostage, and thus it is suspected that 25% of Bitcoin rich actually physically tortured someone to get him to spill his password. Why didn't we abandon Bitcoin and move to another system? Well, we tried, of course. We tried to step over an inflationary currency, but nobody with an IQ above 70 was willing to step up first and volunteer. After all, why would you voluntarily invest a lot of your money into a cryptocurrency or any currency where you know your wealth will actually decline? The thing that made Bitcoin so dangerous to society was also what made it so successful. Bitcoin allows us to give into our greed. In Africa, a survey shows that an estimated 70% of people believe that Bitcoin was invented by the devil himself. There's a reason for this. It's a very sensitive issue that today is generally referred to as the tragedy. The African Union had ambitious plans to help its citizens be ready to step over Bitcoin. Governments gave their own citizens cell phones for free, tied to their government ID, and thus the government sought to integrate Bitcoin into their economy. All went well until the tragedy, that is, a criminal organization, believed to be located in Russia, exploited a hardware fault in the government-issued cell phone. It's believed that the entire continent of Africa lost an estimated 60% of its wealth in a period of 48 hours. What followed was a period of chaos and civil war until the Saudi Arabian and North Korean governments, two of the world's major superpowers due to their authoritarian political system's unique ability to adapt to the Bitcoin challenge, divided up most African land between themselves and were praised as heroes by the local African population for doing it. You might wonder, what is our plan now? It's clear that the current situation cannot be sustained without ending in a nuclear holocaust. I am part of an underground network who seek to launch a coordinated attack against the very infrastructure of the internet itself. We have at our disposal about 20 nuclear submarines, which we'll use to cut all underwater cables between different continents. After this has been successfully achieved, we will launch a simultaneously nuclear pulse attack on every densely populated area of the world. We believe that the resulting chaos will allow the world's population to rise up in revolt and destroy as many computers out there as possible until we reach the point where Bitcoin loses any relevance. Of course, this outcome will likely lead to billions of deaths. This is the price we are forced to pay to avoid the eternal enslavement of humanity to a tiny elite. This is also the reason we contacted you. It doesn't have to be like this. You do not have to share our fate. I don't know how, but you must find a way to destroy this godforsaken project in its infancy. I know this is a difficult thing to ask of you. You believed you were helping the world by eliminating the central bank cartel that governs your economies. However, I have seen where this ends. That is such a fun story. I never get tired of reading it. It was posted 6 years ago on Reddit, as you can see by these comments. Some of this stuff is eerily predicted. I mean, he didn't get his prices correct, right? When he goes all the way up here and says something like, I think Bitcoin was actually towards $1,000 at the end of 2013. And by 2019, we had he predicted 100K in 2019. That's not happening. 1 million in 2021 is still not impossible, but highly unlikely. I think 100,000 in 2021 is actually more likely. But it did. The funny thing is, it did kind of increase every year by the factor of 10 that he was talking about. As we saw in my video yesterday, Akon is trying to start a Bitcoin citadel. That's actually a thing that could happen. And I think the best thing is that, well, the most relevant, closest to this, which he predicted 6 years ago, is the part about the governments buying all the crypto. That's actually happening. North Korea happens to be one of them that is buying crypto, that is buying gold. You can bet the U.S. government, the Chinese governments are definitely mining and buying crypto. The funny thing about the Winklevoss twins is not only are they alive, but they are the owners of one of the largest fiat exchanges or fiat gateways in America. It's basically Coinbase and Gemini that allow you to take your debit card or your checking account and convert it into Bitcoin, anything you want. There's not a lot of services that actually do that. Like the world's biggest crypto exchange, at least in the US, does not offer that, where you can actually plug your Visa debit card in there and buy Bitcoin directly. You have to go to Coinbase or Gemini first, and then you can send Bitcoin to that exchange and buy a whole lot more cryptos with it. But the Winklevoss twins are still most definitely alive. Here in this prediction, they were the first to die, but I suppose it's not impossible. We still have 5 years left. This is a great post. You can just literally Google or DuckDuckGo Bitcoin time traveler and you will get the post. But here's the controversy. I had not read this in a while, and apparently this post was edited. Update 27 October 2019. The problem is, before I read this, is this guy deleted his account. This user completely deleted his account. Let's see. He's literally just got one post. He hasn't replied to any comments. That's the whole thing. Like, he deleted his account, and if you follow the Donald before it moved off of Reddit and onto its own website, you know which person at Reddit had the power and actually abused this power to go in and edit posts like they were from the people who posted them. And that was none other than Steve Hoffman, the CEO of Reddit. He would go into posts on the Donald and change words, change letters, which is totally messed up. I mean, just imagine Jack Dorsey goes directly into your tweet and like edits the tweet that you sent. That's literally what Steve Hoffman did. So let's read the update, which I'm incredibly dubious upon, and then we'll read this article that talks about it. Well, gee, this blew up October 27, 2019, so about a year ago. Bitcoin should not be treated as an investment. It should be recognized as a speculative negative-sum game. The Bitcoin system currently consumes an estimated $3.6 billion worth of electricity on an annualized basis just to update the ledger that contains a record of everyone's transactions. This enormous consumption of electricity is indirectly paid for by people who invest their savings in Bitcoin. As a consequence, money is continually leaking from the system. As a Bitcoin investor, you're paying for Chinese businesses to waste electricity by solving an abstract math problem that is designed to get continually more difficult. Besides ensuring that many people lost vast sums of money while a small minority of early adopters is enriched, Bitcoin causes tremendous ecological damage in an era when we should be focusing as a society on reducing our carbon emissions. Yeah, bullshit, I don't care about carbon emissions. The Bitcoin developers responsible for updating the protocol appear to have no genuine intention to introduce code changes that reduce the ecological damage caused by Bitcoin mining. So my suggestion has to be to sell your Bitcoins, which indirectly has the effect of reducing the ecological damage caused by Bitcoin mining. Theft and loss of coins are also enormous problems affecting Bitcoin, so although it is theoretically possible to store your coins in a safe manner, history has shown that a lot of people will simply lose their coins, further illustrating why Bitcoin is not a good investment option. The other cryptocurrencies share most of Bitcoin flaws. Resource waste, no protection against theft or loss, vulnerable to market manipulation, etc. But most importantly, what sets cryptocurrency apart from proper investments is that these coins don't produce anything. If you invest in a company, that company can use the money to deliver your products. If you buy silver, gold, Bitcoin, or Beanie Babies, you're hoping someone else will come along one day and pay more money for it. History has shown that people who invest in the stock market will generally end up witnessing much higher returns than people who buy gold. I mean, that part is true for now. With that said, I hope this story has entertained you and helped you recognize some of the problems our society would face if we ever witnessed widespread adoption of Bitcoin or similar digital currencies. So, like, this is like, I mean, it completely negates the whole theory that this dude was actually a time traveler. I mean, he's basically saying it's a story, and I hope this helped you recognize what could happen. I still am super dubious that this guy came back. Let's read what this article says. This article talked about it. A mystery is playing out on the Bitcoin subreddit. The infamous Bitcoin time traveler post has been edited, and nobody knows who did it. It was Steve Hoffman, I'm telling you right now. In 2013, a Reddit user appeared to present a bleak outlook of the year 2025, where rampant inequality and parabolic Bitcoin value has pushed the world to the brink of collapse. The post is absolutely ridiculous, but surprisingly, it appears someone has recently doctored it to read as if OP themselves returned to edit the post despite their account being deleted years ago. Strangely, it's now prefaced with, well, gee, this blew up. Bitcoin should not have been treated as an investment. It should be recognized as a negative-sum game. The editor then launches into scathing attacks on its mining infrastructure and the software developers that maintain its code. That's what this. You can't just delete a Reddit account and come back to it, guys. Like I'm telling you, Hoffman or someone pulling Hoffman's strings, a puppet master, Soros or someone in the Chinese government had him do this. The origin of the Bitcoin Citadel meme. As a self-professed time traveler, OP claimed that on average the value of Bitcoin increased by a factor of 10 every year, from 10 cents in 2010 to $1 in 2011. Yeah, we know about that. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Now it's just quoting the article in the post we just read. Bitcoin Citadels, yeah, yeah, yeah. This is where the meme comes from, the Citadel meme. The moral of the original post was to implore the reader to reconsider their investment, as widespread Bitcoin adoption is supposedly going to ruin the world beyond repair. Sadly, this piece of Bitcoin history now has an ironic problem with legitimacy. If the OP's account is deleted, how can they return to edit it? Something Redditors have been quick to highlight. Yes, because I'm telling you, it was someone at Reddit who did this. Hardfork has reached out to the subreddit's moderators to learn more and will update this piece should we receive a reply. Still, it's certainly possible to access the original post via archive links, but one must wonder, why the hell is this happening to one of the most popular Bitcoin shitposts of all times, and why now? Because Reddit is totally compromised by its investors, Tencent, which is Chinese CCP company who invests in American technology companies. That's my theory. Steve Hoffman, Aaron Schwartz, Steve Hoffman's best friend, is probably spinning in his grave at what Steve Hoffman has become, a complete cuck. That's my theory, guys. I believe Steve Hoffman, or someone who's pulling his strings, went in and edited posts that are controversial. He did it on the Donald. We all know it's true. Update, November 5th. A Bitcoin moderator has since contacted Hardfork to shed some light on the statuses of OP's account. The original post was made on the August 31st, 2013, and edited by the original account on the 19th. So how could he come back, though? It doesn't make any sense. It is unclear when or why the original account became inactive. The account was never banned by the moderators, and such site-wide actions can only be performed by Reddit site administrators. Exactly. Thank you. The moderator then went on to explain that there could be a number of reasons for the current status of OP's account. Spam, malware, vote cheating, or ban evasion were listed as possibilities. It could have also been flagged as compromised, and the site took action to disable it. However, depending on the technique that Reddit admins used to disable the account holder is not prevented from editing previously posted threads and comments, said the moderator. It should be noted that there is no indication whatsoever that at any time that any time travel is involved, and that the original unedited post was held in high regard solely as an imaginative piece of fan fiction. It is also unclear whether the original thread was intended to be an ominous warning about Bitcoin, as the edit portrays, or if the account holder's motive and outlook shifted since 2013. It also seems unlikely that one could contact the account holder directly, since there is no way to send them a private message, they noted. The moderator then concluded by highlighting that there are more exciting things happening in Bitcoin than a 6-year-old post that has been recently edited. Yeah, nothing to see here, guys. Why do you guys care that we probably edited a post? Yeah, Reddit is so corrupt. And I'm going to tell you, I deleted the app. The only subreddit that I truly cared about was the Donald. They banned it. The Donald.win is more popular than the Donald now, and I literally just have a browser tab on my phone open to refresh the Donald.win. And I'm happy to tell you, it's been about a month. I don't have the Reddit app, and I had no itch to load Reddit subreddits up. It's a great thing. Get off Reddit, it is garbage. This was the Bitcoin time traveler story, and when I came up with the idea to tell you this story today, I had no idea that there had been an update, but I hope that was a fun adventure for you. The next kind of non-market update news video I'm going to do will probably be in a few days, and it will be on Chainlink. I want to do a deep dive into Chainlink, which has become the number 5 coin and is owned by Oracle, which is a dinosaur tech company in the SF Bay Area. So we'll talk about that on the next non-market update, but as always, Monday through Saturday, you can come to this channel to get your market update. I drop them early, 5:30 in the morning Pacific time. So if you're on the East Coast or in Europe, that'll be in the morning or the afternoon for you, but I get up before the sun. It's just how I like to be. And with that, have a great day.